Welcome back to Cocktails with Kris. I'm Kris Kirby, the beverage manager and sommelier at Garden of the Gods Resort, and we are going to be showing you some coffee beverages today. Of course, we've got to start with the traditional Irish coffee. It's probably the most well-known of the coffee drinks that are offered after dinner service. And then I'm also going to show you a Mexican coffee today. So very similar idea, just using different liquors. With the Irish coffee, I'm going to shake things up a bit, and I'm going to use Jameson Cask Mates. This is the stout edition. This is going to be an aged Irish whiskey. It's aged in stout barrels that have been used for the stout beer, and then it adds a really nice kind of coffee dark component to the Irish whiskey. So it just takes it a little bit step deeper into the Irish coffee and gives you some of those chocolate notes. For the Mexican coffee, I'm going to use a reposado tequila. So it's an aged tequila. These tend to have a little bit more of a flavor of vanilla and caramel because they're aged in wood barrels. And then we're going to use Tia Maria. And Tia Maria is also a coffee liqueur, very similar to Kahlua. It's just a little bit lighter. It's not as dark and heavy. So this is going to be a really nice accompaniment to some of the flavors in the tequila. When I start with my coffee beverage, I don't need a whole lot to accomplish something really great here, but I do have these are Irish coffee mugs, and you'll notice that they don't have a handle. You can certainly use a handled mug, but they're a little smaller than some of the coffee mugs that we keep at home. I would use a smaller size cup in making these beverages so you don't lose the flavor of the alcohol and the sweeteners when you are making this coffee drink. Of course, you can use one with a handle if that's more comfortable, but a lot of people prefer to have a coffee beverage in a glass cup because it allows the flavors of the components of the beverage to come through and doesn't flavor it with anything else that's in the actual vessel itself. So I've got water in these. It's hot water, and that's just acting to warm up and temper my cup. So once I start adding alcohol and other things to that cup, it's not going to make the coffee so cold that it's not enjoyable as a coffee beverage. Because a lukewarm coffee beverage really doesn't sit well with some people. Of course, you can serve these iced if that's your preference as well, and use a cold brew instead of hot coffee. So I'm going to go ahead and dump out that hot water so I have my beverage vessel ready to go. I am going to use 1.5 ounces of the Irish whiskey in my Irish coffee. I'm going to use that jigger to measure. And I'm going to fill this drink right into the cup because I really don't need to do a whole lot of mixing other than the whiskey and the sugar. Now you can use simple syrup, but I'm going to use a fine sugar to make this. It gives it a little bit of texture, and it really adds to sort of the mouthfeel of the beverage. I'm going to use 2 bar spoons of fine sugar. Fine sugar is going to mix into my beverage just a little bit more easily. It's going to dissolve once I get that hot coffee in. And I am going to give this a stir just to get that sugar saturated using my bar spoon. And then I've got a hot dark brew coffee. You can use whatever kind of coffee you want. Certainly, if you want to make this beverage with decaffeinated coffee, you can certainly use decaffeinated coffee. I'm going to use a nice dark brew regular. This is our house brew here at Garden of the Gods. I'm going to add that, and I'm going to leave some room on the top because one of the most important components of an Irish coffee in a lot of people's minds is the cream top. So there are a lot of differing views on how an Irish coffee should be made. Should it have Baileys in it? Should it have cream in it? And really, traditionally, it's going to be sugar, Irish whiskey, hot coffee, and then a cream top. And I'm going to choose to use an unsweetened cream, and I'm going to make my own cream. And I'm going to show you how to do that in a very interesting way, but you can always buy a can of whipped cream. You can make your own whipped cream. If you like your coffee to be a little bit sweeter, you can add more sugar, or you can do a sweetened whipped cream. So you can really make this more personalized based on your own preferences. To make whipped cream, I'm going to take a shaker tin, and I am going to add heavy cream to that. Nice and cold, heavy cream. A couple ounces there is going to do you for a number of drinks, 1 or 2 drinks. And then I'm going to take my Hawthorne strainer. This is a little bar trick I use every once in a while. I'm going to take off that spring component to my Hawthorne strainer and put it right into my shaker tin. This up, make certain that it's a nice tight seal, and I'm going to shake that. You'll feel when you start getting air into your cream because you'll stop hearing the spring shake so much. Now I'm going to open up my shaker tin. If you need to, you can always tap your tin on the table if it's sticking. Now, this isn't going to be a true whipped cream consistency. I don't really want that for this drink. I just want something that's going to sit on top. I'm going to take my shaker tip. I'm going to take a spoon and I'm just going to float that cream right onto the top. So I get the cream as I'm enjoying the drink, as I'm sipping it. It's going to make a beautiful layer on top. And you can always finish this drink off with a little cocoa powder or cinnamon or nutmeg or anything that really you think you would enjoy the flavor and aroma on the top. Some people drizzle just a little bit of creme de menthe for that beautiful green color. However, I don't think the mint goes well with my purposes. I like mint in other things. So I'm just going to let my spoon drizzle. And then you see you've got your beautiful Irish coffee with that nice cream frothy top. So when you enjoy a sip of the beverage, you can get that beautiful texture of the cream. There's your Irish coffee. Now we're going to move on to the Mexican coffee. This is going to be just a little bit more pungent. Anything with tequila in it, to me, should kind of have a little bit of strength behind it. So we're going to make this beverage with our reposado, our aged tequila. We use 1 ounce of my aged tequila. Again, right into the glass. And then I'm going to use 1 ounce of the Tia Maria coffee liqueur as well. Now the Tia Maria is going to be sweetened, so I'm not going to use any additional sugar in this beverage. Certainly if you'd like to, you can add sugar, simple syrup, and you can adjust the amounts of the liquors that you're using if you care to. Go ahead and add that 1 ounce of Tia Maria as well. I'm just going to give it a quick stir with my bar spoon to make certain those two are incorporated together. I don't have the dissolving sugar to worry about in this case. Fill that with hot coffee. Remember, I did temper my glass before I made this beverage, so it was a nice warm cup. And then I'm going to again float some of my homemade whipped cream onto the top of that beverage. Now, if you just pour the cream into the beverage, it's certainly going to add some texture and flavor. It's just not going to have that beautiful layered effect. And I have enough cream in here for probably 2 more beverages if I needed to. But there you have your Mexican coffee. Now this is really, really nicely garnished with some cocoa powder or some cinnamon. Really picks up those flavors of the coffee liqueur and of the tequila as well. And those are some lovely coffee beverages for you. We hope you have a great day and thanks for joining us.